Hi, this video is the second part of a two-part series looking at the automated data collection template import feature of the Promo Planner. So in the first part we looked at loading this template here, the main template. Sometimes we call it the operational template or even the base case template. This is the one that has all the different tabs for all the different levels, strategic levels, operational level, and tactical level planning. But this video concerns the automated import of the other template, this one here, which is the customer landscape template. So let's set the scene before we go ahead and load the customer landscape templates. I'm going to move this one out of the way and go back to the main template, and as you can see, we set up this template with a whole variety of products, and if I go down to the bottom we can see that there are 29 in total. Now, as we're going to assume that we are doing for this demonstration video series a tactical level plan, a full multi-channel tactical level plan, and that will give me the opportunity to show you all the features of the Promo Planner. Because we are making that assumption, we are going to need to have a customer landscape template filled out for every one of these 29 products. We will need them for an operational level plan. We will need them for a tactical level plan. We don't need the customer level templates to be filled out for a strategic level plan. But as we said, we're assuming we're doing a tactical level plan, so I definitely do need them. So here they are. I have a directory. Here it is, the Promo Planner Customer Landscape Templates directory. And here we have 29 product customer landscape templates all filled in. Let me just open one at random here. I'll open the first one. It's called Amelin. I'm opening the template now. There it is. Let me just move the help out of the way. Amelin, there's a sales forecast. It's 95% driven by traditional prescribers. 5% of the business is from parallel trade export. Let's have a look at the prescription split so I can see the sales are coming from, well, 40% from the GPs, other 40% from dermatology, 20% from the pediatricians. I can see that there is a little sensitivity to promotion for my pharmacy, retail pharmacy channel. Some of my brands, around 10% or so, are switched to competitors when they're presented at the retail pharmacy channel. And I can see from down here around half, 50%, of the scripts that the GPs write are not actually initiated by the GPs. They're actually being initiated by the specialists. So in this case it will be the pediatricians and the dermatologists. Then if I look at my two little charts, I can see that because there are so few pediatricians, 276 it says there, and they're driving 20% of the entire sales, that for a single average pediatrician they are actually the most valuable customers to us, at least on average they are. So this is a customer landscape template filled in for the Amelin product, and as you saw I have them set up in the same way for all the other products. So now we have the scene set, we need to load them. How do we do that? Well, let's close down this main template here. We're not going to need that anymore, and we'll bring over the Promo Planner tool itself. Here we go. Now this is the Promo Planner running, and if you look at the bottom, it's running with my data import demo model. Now this is exactly the same model that we loaded the main template into in the first part of this two-part series of videos. So let's just revise that. So I've clicked the Prepare Data button, I've gone straight to the sales forecast section, and I can see that my sales forecasts have already been loaded from that template, along with all the products, of course. I can see that the cost of goods is loaded, and the other promotional expenditures are loaded. In fact, all the strategic level data is loaded. I can see that all the operational data is loaded too. There's the historical team activity and all the rest is there too. And even down to the tactical level data, I can look at my promotional budgets for the untargeted channels, and they're all there. So all of that data and all of the products and customers and teams that were present in the first of the templates has all been loaded. But if I look at the customer landscape section, there we go, and I look at the business drivers, we'll see, well, this is empty. This is all 0 for all of the products. All the products are along here. All the products are there, but all the data is empty. Zeros in every case. I can look at the prescription split data. Again, I have all the products across the top. I have all the customer specialties going along the side here, but everything is empty. And likewise, the pharmacy influence data is empty, and the GP refill data is empty. So there's nothing there. And if I want to review the processed customer landscape data to see the result, the value split as we call it, well, that's empty too. So all of this is empty. And what we need to do is get all that data from all those 29 customer data landscape files into this section of the Promo Planner tool. To do that, we need to go to the Auto, Import and Setup area of the tool. So let's click that. And of course, we've already loaded the operational data template. What we want to do now is load the customer landscape template. So we'll click that option. Now, when we do that, we end up here. And, well, everything's blank. Nothing's happened. Well, the reason why nothing's happened is because we haven't yet told the Promo Planner where our customer landscape templates are being stored. So let's do that now. We can go down here to the Files icon, click that, and we can tell the Promo Planner where the customer landscape templates are. Now, for me, they're on my J drive, so I need to go all the way back to the top to get to my J drive. Here it is. And once I've got to my J drive, I have my directory here, the Promo Planner Customer Landscape directory. So that's the one I want. I can click on that, and I can tell the Promo Planner, there we go, to select this folder. So here are all my customer landscape template files. There they all are. And I'm going to select this folder. Now, as soon as I do that, the Promo Planner starts looking at each one of those customer landscape template files and checks them. It carries out a whole set of validation checks. And as you can see, it has done that. All of them have lit up in green. There are more if I go down a little bit more. And every one of them says one product to import, one product to import, one product to import. So every one of these files has successfully validated. And it tells me at the top there are 29 products to be imported. So that all looks wonderful. So let me click the import button and see what happens. So it's going through those same 29 files, but this time it's actually importing the data. It's not just verifying. And as you can see now, because it's loaded them already, there's no additional data for it to load, and it's telling us there's no more products to be imported, and for every one of those there are 0 products left to import. So that seems to have worked perfectly. So let's go back to the data section. Let's go back to the customer landscape area and see what's happened. So we can go into the business drivers, and there we have it. All our business driver information is all there. So if I look at my amylin product, there it is. If you remember, it was driven 5% by parallel trade export and 95% by prescribers, and that data is all there. So let's have a look at the prescription split. There we have it. We have data. That all looks good. And there's my amylin product, 40% driven by GPs, 20% pediatricians, 40% by the dermatologist. So as you can see, all the data from all the customer landscape template files has now been loaded successfully. And if we skip right to the bottom, we can review the result of that customer landscape data in the terms of a value split. And the value split is essentially all of this information being processed so that we can understand exactly now which customers are driving each of the products. So let me click on the value split, and here we have everything is worked out. So I can go over to the Amylin product, and I can see, after taking into account the retail pharmacy channel information we gave it, the GP refill information, the sensitivity information, the brand switching information, the Promo Planner tool has assigned these values to the customers for Amylin. GPs are driving it 19%, the pediatricians a little over 25%, dermatologists a little over 50%. Why does it not add up to 100%? Well, it doesn't add up to 100% because if you remember rightly, back here in the business drivers, 5% or so of the sales for Amylin, there it is, that one there, is driven by parallel trade export, and we don't want to include that element of the sales when we are making decisions about how large our promotional investment should be in this market, because obviously some of the sales are coming from other markets. So as you can see, all of the customer landscape data has now been successfully loaded. Well, that was all a little bit too easy. Let's do something a little bit more realistic. What might happen if one of your product managers had decided that they were going to change some of the project scope data in those operational templates, customer landscape templates rather, when they are sent to you? So let's try and mimic what might happen there. So let's take this Amylin product. Here it is. This is the customer landscape template for Amylin. And we remember what's in here. I'll move the help out of the way. So let's imagine that the product manager for Amylin decided, I don't like how this is being set up. I'm going to make some changes. I'm going to add family doctors to this because we have some family doctors, and I'm going to say there's 1,000 of them. And let's say, well, I know that there are 48,000 GPs in my market, but only 30,000 are relevant to me, so I don't want to use that number. I'm going to use that number instead. So let's imagine that one of the product managers had made this kind of a change to the data, and then saved it. There we go, and then sent it on to you. Now, really, we don't want that kind of thing to happen too much, perhaps, because we want all of that project scope data, the customer list, the product list, the audience sizes, etc., to be consistent across all the products in the portfolio, because that way we can make all the calculations correctly. But it might be the case that something is wrong or something that needs to be changed, so we don't want to completely remove the right for your product managers to make changes if, for any reason, we have got something wrong. So let's say that that has happened. The product manager has made some of those changes. So we're going to go ahead now and try and load that data. But obviously, I already had the previous set of data loaded here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go home, and I'm not going to press the save button. I'm going to go directly to exit, and I'm going to discard the changes. Now, the only changes I made was the loading of all those customer landscape template files. So I'm going to go back to that same data import demo model. There it is. I'm opening it now. Before I loaded the customer landscape templates, but after I loaded the original template from part 1 of this series. So here I am. I'm back in the database. Let's just check that out. I'm going to go and check my data, look at the strategic data, and yep, I have my sales forecast. I can check to see if I have any operational data. Yep, I have my historical team activity, and I also have some of my tactical data. So I know that all the data from the first template has been loaded correctly. Let me just check and make sure that the customer landscape is empty. And yep, all of those business drivers are empty. The prescription split is empty. Fine. So I'm exactly where I want to be. So let's go ahead a second time now and try and load this new set of customer landscape data files with the amended Amelin one. So we're going to go to Data, we're going to go to Auto Import and Setup, and we're going to select the customer landscape template. Now this time it's not blank when I start. It remembered where my customer landscape templates were, and it's gone straight in to analyzing them all. And as you can see straight away, we have some red text, and red text indicates there is a problem. And there is a problem with, well, the Amelin customer landscape template. We shouldn't be surprised about that. Let's just have a look down the list. Everything else looks perfect, but there's clearly something wrong with that. So what we can do is, using these plus buttons here, we can open it up and get a feel for what might be wrong. And we can see that there's something wrong with the customer list, and we can see that some of the customer count is different, and we can see that this family doctor's specialty is not defined in a database. So now we have a choice. We can decide what it is we want to do. We can go back to the product manager for Amelin and say, do you really need family doctors to be added? Because if we do, we should add it. And if we do need to add it, well, we could add it manually. I could go back to Home, back to Prepare Data, go into the data option here and Project Setup, go into my customer specialty setup. Here are all my customer specialties. I can go down to the bottom, I can press my plus, and I can add family doctors if we decide that that is the right thing to do. If I press the plus here, I'll get a little set of menus to fill in, and family doctors will arrive at the bottom. Or we might decide that that product manager shouldn't be using the family doctors specialty at all. They should actually be using the GPs, and we would want to tell them to do that, and we would want them to tell them to put the customer audience size back to the real number and not the number that they happen to target for that product. So we could maybe get the product manager to understand what we're trying to do and make the changes back to the way we started. But if they are in fact correct, we have the opportunity to put things right. And once we've put things right, we can go back to the Data button, back to Auto Import and Setup, and then reload them all again. Obviously I haven't made any changes, so I'm still going to have the error when this is finished doing its analysis. So there you have it. That's the process by which you can automatically import all the customer landscape templates. But it's not just a question of importing them. There is a full kind of project management tool here to make sure that you can have a good conversation between me in the project manager role and my product manager who's supplying the customer landscape data to me, to make sure that we have the right data, to make sure everything is consistent, and if there are things that do need to change, then we can change them now at this point and not at the point when we are reviewing the results and find that, well, the results are now wrong because there are errors in the input. So this is the right time to find out that there are mistakes. So that's it. That's the customer landscape template auto import function with the Promo Planner 4. Thank you very much.